Let's begin, not by moving forward, but by slowing everything down, even just for a moment, because maybe what you need right now isn't more doing, more thinking, more trying, but a gentle place to land. Maybe you've been carrying something all day, a thought that wouldn't let go, a feeling that didn't have space to speak, or just the weight of having to be someone in a world that rarely pauses. But here, in this quiet unfolding, there's nothing to carry. You don't as it need to hold your thoughts in place. You don't need to explain your feelings. You don't even need to try to fall asleep. This is a soft doorway, not into something new, but into something forgotten, a slower rhythm that was always waiting for you beneath the noise. So let the breath fall open now, not pulled, not pushed, just soften, as if your body was remembering how to be held without holding anything back. And if a part of you still feels like it needs to stay alert, that's all right too. It's just another part that's learning how to rest. You are not here to perform your peace. You are here to remember that peace doesn't ask you to become anything. It only asks you to stop becoming for a little while. Let yourself settle now into the rhythm that doesn't rush, into the moment that doesn't ask, into the breath that doesn't need to be perfect to be enough. You are not behind. You are not late. You are already here. And here is a good place to begin. Notice where your body meets the surface beneath you, the quiet architecture of rest, already holding you without question. You don't have to do anything now. Even sleep is not a task. This is not a journey forward or back. This is a soft spiraling inward, a return to presence, to the you that was never lost. Let your breath fall open now, not deep, not forced, just natural, as if your body remembered it knew how to breathe long before it knew how to try. And as you exhale, notice the way your ribs settle, just a little more heavily. That is you arriving. Feel the warmth of stillness spreading through your limbs, not dramatic, not loud, but like sunlight soaking into moss, or a lullaby whispered to the bones. Let this voice become less like sound and more like an atmosphere, a gentle field you strays floating inside of. Perhaps already you are noticing a quiet behind your thoughts, a vastness that doesn't ask for anything, but welcomes everything. This moment asks nothing of you but kindness. Let it in now, as if the air around you had been waiting all day. Let the holding melt. Let the breath guide. Let the body be exactly as it is. And if your mind wanders, that espis, all right, it's not wrong. That's just another part of you that needs softening too. You do not have to catch the thoughts. Just let them pass like birds across the evening sky. Let this night become the gentle tide you never needed to resist. And as you continue to settle, you might feel something ancient stir, not loud, but deep, like the hum behind silence, like a whisper from the part of you that remembers how to rest. You are not falling asleep, you are falling inward. Welcome, wanderer. Let vets begin. Let your attention drift now to the quiet rhythm of your breathing, noticing, not fixing. There is no need to breathe differently, only to listen to how breath moves through you without needing permission. Inhale as if the body were remembering its part in an ancient conversation. Exhale as if that conversation required no words at all. Feel the breath settle in your belly now, not to control it, but to be near it. Let it fall open like a doorway. Let it return like a wave to the shore. Each breath softens the edges of your thoughts, not to erase them, but to let them loosen, like petals falling out of focus. Thoughts may come. They said you're supposed to. They said just the mind stretching its limbs, testing the air. Beneath them is something quieter, the breath beneath thought, the sea beneath the wave, the sky behind every cloud. You are not the chatter. You are the stillness where the chatter echoes and fades. Feel your shoulders now. See if they are ready to rest. Let them melt downward as if gravity were a hand stroking the tension out of you. Let your jaw go slack. Let your tongue soften behind your teeth. Let the corners of your eyes release their grip on the world. And if a thought returns, welcome it with kindness. Then let it pass like a feather floating out of reach. There says a spaciousness in not needing to hold what arises. Let that spaciousness widen now, like twilight opening across the sky. Inhale gently, not to pull in, but to become more open. Exhale, not to release, but to return to this breath, this moment where nothing needs to be different. Notice how your thoughts become quieter when you don't as to chase them, like children playing softly when they know they should, being loved but not watched. You don't have to direct the quiet. You are the quiet, and somewhere within it, a rhythm continues. Breath, body, being. Let your breath guide you now, not to somewhere else, but deeper into here. The breath beneath thought does not ask for belief, only trust. And you don't even have to trust it actively. You start already trusting it. With every breath you don't try to control. This is the letting go. Your fees have already begun. Let that knowing settle in your chest like soft light, glowing without effort, holding without weight. Even now, you are drifting, not lost, but gently returned to the space between thoughts. Let the breath lead. Let the body follow. Let the thinking soften into listening. You are doing beautifully, and there is nowhere else you need to be. Just here, just breath, just the soft rhythm of you. And now, let your awareness drift as if the breath itself were carrying you, not toward sleep, but toward a softer place inside. Imagine you are lying at the edge of a great, quiet ocean. The moonlight is soft, the water barely moves, and your breath rises and falls like the tide. There is nothing to do here. Just watch the shore breathe with you. Each wave that touches the sand reminds your body it's safe to let go. You are the shoreline now, not the waves, not the water, just the meeting place where movement becomes stillness. Let your thoughts pull back like the sea returning to itself. What remains is the hush beneath the foam, a kind of presence that does not need words. Feel your body as that shoreline, every breath smoothing the tension, every exhale drawing you deeper into stillness. Let the ocean hold your name now. You don't, it's needed here. You are not the story. You are the space it happens in. And the waves will keep returning, not to disrupt, but to remind you that stillness is not an absence of motion, but a rhythm too deep to measure. Let the breath roll in and out, and as it does, the boundary between your body and the water dissolves just a little more. Let that be enough. This stillness has always known your shape. And now we drift again into the mystery waiting just beyond. What if you didn't just in need to understand? What if the softest truths were the ones that never asked to be solved? Let yourself enter the quiet room of not knowing, not as a failure of clarity, but as a sacred kind of openness. There is a peace in admitting we don't just know, not an emptiness, but a space for wonder. Let that space widen now, like the hush just before a snowfall. Imagine your thoughts slowing, not stopping, just softening, becoming feather-light questions, resting on the air. What is this moment? What is this breath? What would it be like to trust without needing to name? Let the questions float. Let them hover without landing. You are not here to chase answers. You are here to sit beside the question like it is a dear friend. You don't set need to fix. Feel how your breath moves differently when you sit, not chasing anything. Inhale gently, as if the question were filling your chest with light. Exhale slowly, as if releasing the grip of needing to know. The body responds to mystery, not with fear, but with relief. There is so much it no longer has to hold. Feel that now, the space behind your eyes widening, your shoulders remembering how it feels to stop reaching. Let your thoughts float like mist over a still lake. Let the lake be your breath, vast, reflective, endlessly deep. And the mist, that espets thought, that is wonder, that is the gentle power of curiosity. Without destination, you are safe here, safe to wonder, safe to be without direction. Somewhere inside you, there sits a child who used to ask why, not to arrive, but to keep dancing with the unknown. That child has not left. Let them guide you now. Let your breath be their question. Let your body be the answer that doesn't need to be spoken. There is no pressure in this space, only possibility. And perhaps that espers all peace ever was. Not the absence of complexity, but the surrender of needing to explain it. You are allowed to live in the glow before certainty, in the poetry before prose. Let that not knowing wrap around you like dusk, softening everything it touches. You don't need to figure this moment out. You only need to feel it, like wind on your skin, like moonlight on water, like the breath that moves through you without asking for your attention. What if this is where the real wisdom lives? Not in the answers, but in the widening silence that holds every question like a lantern glowing in mist. You are not behind. You are not late. You are simply not yet finished unfolding. Let that be beautiful. Let it be enough. And now, with your breath moving gently, your thoughts light as sky clouds, your body resting in the soft lap, and as mystery, we drift onward, not to know more, but to need less, not to control the dream, but to remember you are the dream being dreamt. As you continue to rest here, gently supported by breath and stillness, you might begin to notice the subtle hum of the mind, not as a distraction, but as something natural, like the sound of wind moving through tall grass, or the ripple of a quiet stream passing through a forest that has no need to be heard. Thoughts may still arise, as they often do, emerging gently from within, like soft bubbles rising to the surface of a calm lake, or like mist curling up from the earth in the cool light of early morning. And just like those natural movements, they require no resistance, no correction, only a wider kind of noticing. You don't need to push the thoughts away, and you don't need to follow them either, because in this space, your awareness is like a wide sky holding every cloud, like a slow river carrying each leaf without effort or direction. Each thought that passes can be acknowledged with kindness, not analyzed, not feared, not clung to, but simply witnessed, the way you might watch a petal drifting across your open palm before being lifted gently by the air and floating out of view. Let your awareness be that palm, open and unburdened, holding what arises only for a moment, then letting it go again and again until even the letting go becomes soft and effortless. Feel the way your shoulders respond to this kind of gentleness, sinking just a little deeper into the surface beneath you, releasing tension not because you forced them to, but because the body is beginning to remember that it doesn't have to hold so tightly anymore. Notice the rhythm of your breath, how it mirrors the rhythm of thought itself. An inhale of noticing, an exhale of release. A cycle that doesn't demand understanding, but simply asks you to stay with it, lightly and patiently, like watching the slow shift of clouds across a twilight sky. And in between the thoughts, there may be moments, even the smallest flickers, of pure quiet, of space, so soft and still that it's barely perceptible until it arrives, like the hush between waves or the calm between raindrops. And those moments are not empty, but full of a different kind of presence. You don't need to try and create these spaces because they were always there. You're simply beginning to notice them, like forgotten rooms in a house you've lived in all along. Let the thoughts come and let them go, not because you're trying to escape them, but because you are learning to watch them without becoming them, learning to witness without weaving meaning where none is needed. Your mind, like your breath, has its own gentle current, and you are not the current. You are the riverbank, the still place beside the stream, the presence that sees without needing to reach. If a thought returns again and again, like a familiar echo or a persistent tune, greet it with curiosity, like an old friend who has forgotten why they've come, and then, when it's ready, let it drift once more. There is no judgment in this space, no right way to think, no perfect quiet to achieve, only the gentle softening of the edges, the slow untying of thought from identity, the reminder that you are not your thinking, but the spaciousness in which thinking happens. Let your body and breath become heavier now, not with burden, but with the comfort of belonging, of being held by gravity, without needing to do anything in return. You are not here to be empty. You are here to be whole, and wholeness includes thoughts, includes breath, includes every subtle sensation that rises and falls in the field of you. And so you rest here, not in stillness as an achievement, but as a remembering that you were always allowed to soften, always allowed to drift, always allowed to simply be. Let your breath continue its gentle movement, guiding you like a stream flowing steadily beneath the surface of everything you've been. And with each breath, let another thought become less sharp, less solid, more like wind, more like cloud, more like the soft echo of something that no longer needs to be held. There is nothing to fix here, only breath, only space, only the quiet place where thoughts go to soften, and where you are already home. And now, let your awareness drift again, as if it were being carried, not by will, but by something lighter, something quieter, something like a feather riding the invisible hands of air. Imagine now, just beyond the edges of thought, there is a breeze, a gentle current that carries not your body, but your attention, lifting it softly, weightlessly, the way light drifts through water, or how a candle flickers when no one's watching. This feather you follow doesn't fall, It floats, it tilts, it moves without effort, carried by the same wind that carries your breath in and out, in and out, in and out. You don't need to guide it, or hold it, or wonder where it's going. You only need to stay near it, to feel its rhythm, to trust that wherever it lands, you'll land there too. The feather turns gently in the air, sometimes spinning, sometimes hovering, a symbol not of where you are going, but of how gently you are being led. Let the feather rise now with your next breath in, and then settle with your breath out, and feel how your thoughts respond, growing softer, slower, farther apart, like echoes fading across a canyon at dusk. This is not floating away from yourself. This is floating toward a version of you that has no weight, no pressure, no destination, just breath, just movement, just the feather and the breeze and the sense that even stillness is allowed to wander. You are lighter now. Let that be enough. And let us continue drifting together. Let your awareness now gently retreat inward, not away from the world, but beneath it, like sinking softly through layers of warm water until you arrive in the most quiet part of yourself, the space that has always been here, always watching, always breathing, even before you noticed. Feel your breath continuing without effort, slow, steady, smooth, and with each exhale, allow your attention to drift back behind the eyes into the vast space where thought begins, where image forms, where dreams are born and dissolve like morning mist. This space is not empty. It is not silent in a hollow way. It is spacious in the way a cathedral is spacious, or a night sky without wind, or the way a question can hold more meaning than any answer ever could. If emotions arise here, or memories, or images, let them appear and fade like shadows cast by candlelight, soft and moving, but not fixed, not heavy, not in need of your grasp. You do not need to think here, and you do not need to stop thinking either. Simply observe the place where thoughts rise from, like watching ripples form before the pebble ever touches the surface. Let yourself settle into this witness now, the quiet observer behind the movement of thought, the one who does not try to change the river, but sits calmly on its edge, noticing how it shines in moonlight, noticing how it flows. There is no goal in this space, only a deep remembering that before you had thoughts, you were still aware, that before you had language, you were still present, that even now, you are more than what moves through your mind. This presence, this quiet behind your eyes, is the part of you that knows how to rest, how to receive, how to remain. You are not the screen on which thoughts appear. You are the space behind the screen, the silence in which the light flickers, the breath behind the breath, and let it carry you onward, gently, toward the dream that is waiting to be remembered. Let that be enough. Let your awareness settle now, not in effort, not in stillness, as something you must find, but in the kind of gentle noticing that feels more like being carried than carrying, as though a soft current of breath were lifting you into a space not made of walls or time, but of spaciousness and presence. And within this space, perhaps without needing to try, you begin to feel a single thought rising, not a loud one, not a demanding one, but something delicate, like a petal floating on a pond, or a glimmer moving beneath the surface of a quiet lake. This thought doesn't need to be understood or even held. It's not an idea that asks for action or answers, but more of a shape, a subtle suggestion that something within you is ready to drift, to dream, to be seen in a different way. It might sound like a question. What if I am already enough? Or what if this moment is exactly what it needs to be? But it doesn't need to be answered, because its power lies not in conclusion, but in how it opens something soft and curious inside you. Let this thought move gently through you, the way a breeze moves through tall grass without needing to leave a path, felt more than followed, present more than possessed. And as you breathe in now, let the thought become a little brighter, not urgent, not sharp, but softly luminous, like the faint glow of dawn before the sun has decided to rise. As you breathe out, imagine that same thought drifting outward, riding the exhale like a feather, leaving your chest, floating a little farther into the room, still near, still yours, but now part of the wider stillness. This thought is not heavy. It carries no weight of proving or persuading. It's simply a quiet companion, something small and kind that has chosen to walk beside you, not in front, not behind, but with you. Feel how your breath begins to take on its rhythm, the thought and the breath becoming entangled in a slow, shared dance, one guiding the other, neither leading, neither following, both resting in something more ancient than movement. You don't need to cling to it, and you don't need to forget it. Just let it hover at the edge of your awareness, a gentle light you can return to whenever your mind begins to wander too far from softness. And if other thoughts come, which they will, greet them like leaves in a stream that gently touch the surface of this one luminous idea and are then carried past, not wrong, not dangerous, just passing, just water. Let yourself return again to the thought that carries you, like returning to a familiar rhythm in a song, like finding your way back to the warmest part of the bed, the place where your body knows how to rest without instruction. Notice the shape of this thought, how it doesn't demand anything, how it doesn't press or pull, how it simply exists, glowing softly in the space behind your eyes, like a small flame that warms but never burns. Let this thought, whatever it is, live without boundaries now, expanding slowly into your breath, into your chest, into the quiet spaces behind your ribs and beneath your collarbone, until it begins to feel not like something separate, but like something remembered, something returned. And as it settles within you, you may feel the edges of your body begin to blur a little, not disappearing, but softening, as if the thought is wrapping you in itself, or perhaps revealing that you were always wrapped in something gentle and vast and unseen. This thought, the one that carries you, is not here to solve anything. It's not a puzzle piece. It's not a door that leads elsewhere. It is a resting place, a small internal hammock where the mind can sway without needing to stand. You are not required to hold it forever, only long enough to feel its kindness, to let it shift something small in you, like the turning of a single leaf, like the pause between one breath and the next. And now, as your breath deepens without trying, as your body sinks further into the surface that holds it, and as your thoughts grow quieter, lighter, less structured, this one thought continues to drift within you and around you, never far, never demanding, only present. Let it become background now, not gone, but absorbed, like music you no longer notice, because it has become part of the air, like sunlight warming your skin, even when your eyes are closed. You are being carried, not away, but inward, by something that does not need to be named, something that asks nothing more from you than the willingness to rest and be gently moved. And now, with the breath continuing, and the thought still glowing, and your awareness held in softness, not because there is somewhere to go, but because the dream is unfolding. As you continue to rest here, in this wide, quiet space behind your eyes, a new kind of question begins to rise, not one that seeks an answer, but one that opens something soft and endless inside you. A question like, What if I am not the thinker of these thoughts, but the one who watches them rise and fall, the one who dreams them into form? Let that question move through you now, like fog rolling in across still water, not obscuring, but deepening, not demanding, but inviting. You may have lived many days thinking of yourself as the one inside the thoughts, the narrator, the director, the voice behind the voice. But what if you were not the voice, but the field in which the voice echoes? What if, just for this moment, you are not the doer, not the chooser, not the thinker, but something more open, more still, more like the dreamer dreaming all of it into being? Feel how this idea doesn't need proof, how it doesn't ask for belief, how it simply opens a space, like a curtain parting or a window unlocking, to reveal a sky you'd forgotten was always there. Breathe in now, slowly, and feel that you are not directing the breath. You are not managing its path. You are simply allowing it to move through you, like wind through an open room, like light on an ocean floor. And as you breathe out, notice how the breath leaves you without resistance, without clinging, as if the body itself understands that it is being breathed, not by effort, but by something older than knowing. This is the place where you might ask, not with urgency, but with wonder, if I am not my thoughts, then what am I? And the answer does not come in words, but in sensation, in stillness, in the way your body sinks just a little deeper into the space that is holding it now. Maybe you are not the character in the dream. Maybe you are the dreamer, not asleep, but lucid, watching the story unfold, not from control, but from a place of endless witnessing. And maybe you are also the dream itself, not the watcher behind the curtain, but the curtain, the stage, the light, the breath between every line. Feel what it's like to rest in that possibility now, not as something to understand, but as something to relax into, like a hand settling into warm water, or a thought dissolving into quiet. You are not being asked to choose between thinker and dreamer, between mind and awareness. You are only being asked to let the boundary soften, to allow the definitions to melt like ice touched by the sun. You may begin to notice now that the more you let go of trying to define yourself, the more clearly you feel something true, not as an identity, but as a presence that does not need to be named because it has always been here. Let yourself fall into that presence now, slowly, gently, as if falling not downward, but inward, toward the center of something immeasurable. You are not trying to awaken from the dream. You are awakening within it. Let your breath be the bridge now between the dreamer and the dream, between the stillness and the thought, between the witness and the world. Each inhale is a return. Each exhale is a release. Each breath is an invitation to drift deeper into the truth that needs no words, the truth that you are not separate from the dream, nor merely watching it, but are the dreaming itself, unfolding moment by moment in the spacious rhythm of being. And so you rest here, without trying to hold it, without needing to decide, only feeling how beautiful it is to drift as both dream and dreamer. Let that be enough. And let us continue onward, inward, softly. Let yourself drift now just a little farther, or maybe deeper, not with effort, but with the kind of softness that happens when something inside you finally stops reaching and simply lets itself be carried. Imagine now that your thoughts have become petals, not sharp, not tangled, but delicate, smooth, and slow, each one drifting gently across the surface of time, as if time itself had become a quiet river, and your awareness a boat resting in its current, unsteered, unhurried, simply floating. These petals are not memories or plans, not worries or stories. They are impressions, hints of feeling, fragments of wonder, each carrying a different texture of presence, of stillness, of the mystery that lives between each breath. You don't need to name them. You only need to notice the way they move, the way they float without resistance, the way they turn slightly as they're caught by the current, drifting onward, not because they have a destination, but because that's what petals do. They drift. Let your awareness become like the water now, not the petals, not the movement, but the quiet depth beneath them, the surface they rest on, the presence that holds without needing to understand. And if something in you stirs, a thought, a sensation, a subtle memory, let it arrive like another petal, touched by light, made of nothing heavy, nothing sharp, nothing that needs to be solved. This is the rhythm of now, of petals floating on time, of you held without weight, moved without pressure, witnessing without needing to change. Let yourself stay here just a moment longer, then follow the drift into what comes next. And now, as you rest in this quiet current of breath and drifting thought, you find yourself arriving somewhere new, not a place in space, but a shift in presence, like walking into a still room where something sacred waits. In front of you, not imagined, but felt, there is a mirror suspended in silence, glowing faintly with a light that does not come from outside, a mirror that does not reflect your face or your name or your story, but something far more spacious, something that doesn't look back because it already knows. You stand before this mirror, or maybe you float, or maybe the mirror has been part of you all along, and now you are simply noticing its quiet presence in the center of yourself, waiting patiently beneath all the reflections you've ever believed. This mirror does not show form, it shows essence. It does not capture appearance. It reveals what remains when appearance falls away. When you look into it, you do not see your eyes, or your past, or your identity. Instead, you feel a warmth, a widening, a remembering that you are not who you think you are. You are who is thinking, and even that may not be the full truth. Let your breath slow now, not because you're trying, but because the breath itself is slowing, drawn deeper by the stillness this mirror holds, a stillness that is not empty, but endlessly full of presence. You may feel something release in your chest, or behind your eyes, or along the edge of your jaw, as if your body too has recognized what the mind has forgotten, that you were never the image, never the mask, never the reflection. You were always the space, the light, the awareness in which all reflections appear and disappear. And now, standing before this mirror, breathing with it, resting in it, something inside you begins to soften even more. Not just the muscles, not just the thoughts, but the very sense of I that clings and tries and wants to understand. You are not asked to give it up. You are only asked to see through it, like seeing through mist that once looked solid, like looking at your own face and realizing the mirror was never showing you at all, only holding space until you were ready to see without seeing. Let this be enough, this moment of presence, of returning, of dissolving the need to be defined. Let the breath move through you like wind through an open corridor, and let the silence that follows the breath be the mirror itself, not reflecting, but holding, not echoing, but listening. And now you may feel a new kind of quiet rising in you, a silence that is not the absence of thought, but the home beyond it, a stillness that does not require explanation, because it is not an idea, it is the presence beneath all ideas. There is nothing to hold in this mirror. There is nothing to do. Just breathe and feel and rest in the space that remains when you stop trying to be anything other than this. This is not about forgetting who you are. It is about remembering what you are made of. You are not the reflection. You are not even the dreamer looking in. You are the mirror itself. You are the space that gives all things their shape, not by forming them, but by holding them long enough to let them arise and then dissolve again. Let your breath carry that truth deeper now, not to explain it, not to prove it, but to become it, quietly, gently, like mist, becoming morning. And as your body softens further, as your thoughts move farther to the edges, and as this mirror begins to feel less like an object and more like the atmosphere itself, know that you are safe to release, safe to forget, safe to become. You do not need to see anymore. You are the seeing. Let that be enough. Let that carry you. And let us continue further inward into the dream that breathes you. And now, let the inner landscape begin to shift again, not abruptly, but slowly, softly, like the quiet transformation that happens in a forest at dawn, unseen at first, but felt in the way the air deepens, the way the silence thickens, the way something begins to stir just beneath the surface of sound. Imagine that, with each breath, you are walking gently through a forest that remembers you, not by name, not by thought, but by presence, as if the trees recognize your breath as part of the same wind that moves their leaves, as if the ground knows the rhythm of your footsteps from a time before time. The air here is rich, slow, alive, not heavy, but dense with stillness, and with every inhale, you gather that stillness into your chest, like mist into a bowl, and with every exhale, you release something no longer needed, not discarded with force, but simply set down like a stone, finally ready to rest. Let yourself walk this forest now, not forward, but inward. Each breath a step, each step a soft echo, until you realize you are no longer walking through the forest, but with it, as it, part of its breath, part of its dreaming. Here, the trees do not speak in words, but in rhythms, the slow rhythm of becoming, the patient rhythm of roots, the sacred rhythm of life unfolding without the need for explanation. And just for now, you are allowed to breathe with that rhythm, to rest in it, to let it remind you that you belong, not because of what you've done or who you've become, but because you are here, and that is enough. Breathe now with the forest and listen, not with your ears, but with your stillness. The dream continues from here. You step now into a clearing, not through effort, not by choice, but because the breath has led you here, and what opens before you is not a place exactly, but a feeling, a memory that never had a name, a garden that lives just beneath the waking world. This garden is not bound by season or shape. It grows in every direction, in colors that do not yet exist, under a sky that remembers you without ever needing to ask who you are. And as you arrive, it opens, not like a door, but like a thought that has finally been allowed to complete itself. Everything here is alive, but quietly so. The flowers do not bloom with fanfare. The vines do not stretch with effort. They simply are, unfolding the way breath unfolds, the way dreams open when you stop trying to dream them. And as you walk, or drift, or simply rest in this garden, you begin to hear something, not voices, not words, but echoes, soft sounds rising from the roots, from the petals, from the air itself, and each echo feels like a memory, but not from this lifetime, a knowing, a whisper, a truth you once held before you knew how to name it. The echoes are not loud, they do not interrupt, they do not explain, they surround you like warmth, like starlight, like something you don't need to hear with your ears, to feel in your chest. One says, "You are not lost, you are being remembered." Another says, "This breath is older than thought." And another, so quiet, it feels like it comes from inside your bones, says, "You do not need to hold everything. You are already being held." These echoes do not ask you to think. They do not ask you to respond. They only ask you to listen with the part of you that still dreams, the part of you that knows stillness without needing to measure it. Let yourself sit now in the center of this garden, or lie down, or float. It doesn't matter how you appear here, because here you are not seen by form, but by feeling, by vibration, by presence. And in this presence, you may begin to feel that you are not the one hearing the echoes. You are the echo, the return, the soft repetition of a truth that has been waiting for you to be still enough to feel it. Breathe into that now, not to deepen your breath, but to deepen your being, to let the breath become the carrier of this sacred sound, this gentle remembrance that who you are is not separate from what holds you. The garden does not judge. The garden does not ask. The garden only reflects what you are ready to remember. And even then, only when you are ready to feel, not know. Here, you may notice how the edges of self begin to soften again, how the line between the one who walks and the path being walked begins to blur until you are no longer moving through the dream, but being dreamed by it. Let your breath guide you through this. Let the echo carry you. Let the garden become a mirror, not of your form, but of your becoming. You do not need to do anything more now. Not think, not try, not reach, only breathe, only receive, only rest in the truth that has already found you. You are not gathering echoes. You are the place they return to. Let that be enough, and let the next breath carry you deeper into the soundless knowing beneath all things. Now the garden begins to fade, not disappear, but dissolve, like the way a scent remains long after the flower is gone, like how music continues in your chest even after the final note has been played. You feel yourself walking beneath trees again, or maybe you're floating, or maybe there is no ground at all, only the suggestion of stillness beneath your breath and the slow rhythm of drifting through space that does not need direction. Above you, light filters down, not bright, not sharp, but scattered, like sunlight passing through a canopy of ancient leaves, dappling your body in warmth that feels less like heat and more like recognition. This is the light between the leaves, the in-between glow, the gentle shimmer that doesn't belong to the sky or the ground, but lives only in the spaces where things don't quite touch. And just as this light does not force its way in, neither must you force your way forward. You are not meant to chase the light, only to receive it, to let it rest on your skin, your thoughts, your breath, as if you've always known it, as if it had always known you. You are in the presence of what cannot be held, only felt, and in that presence, something quiet within you exhales, a long breath you didn't realize you'd been holding. And as the leaves above sway gently, scattering the light across your being, like blessings that do not need a reason, you are reminded, not through language, but through sensation, that you are allowed to rest in what is beautiful and fleeting, without needing to possess it, without needing to understand. Let the breath carry this softness deeper now into the next turning of the dream. You arrive now, gently, effortlessly, in a place that feels less like a location and more like a symbol, as if the breath itself had curved inward and revealed a sacred pattern hidden in the quiet. There is something in front of you, small, delicate, ancient, a shell resting on soft earth, or perhaps floating just above it, turning slowly, silently, as if time itself were wrapped around its shape. This is no ordinary shell. It is a spiral, infinite in its inward motion, and as you look at it, or feel it, or simply sense its presence, you realize you are not looking at something outside yourself. You are looking into a mirror made of form, a reflection of how awareness moves when it stops trying to be linear. The spiral doesn't begin or end. It curves, it circles, it deepens, and in that deepening, you begin to feel something echo in your own breath, your own body, your own being. Inhale slowly and sense the inward curve. Exhale and feel the return. The Hermetic axiom echoes gently now, as above, so below, as within, so without. And yet here, in the soft stillness of sleep-bound thought, those words aren't philosophy, they are sensation. They are the way your breath mimics the motion of the spiral, the way your awareness moves inward while still being part of the outer world. You are not a body watching the spiral. You are the spiral being watched by itself. You are the curve in the dream, the echo folding in on itself, the center that has no edge and the edge that leads always deeper. And in this recognition, there is no need to solve, only to soften, to let your mind unfurl like the spiral itself, opening layer by layer, not toward an answer, but toward a more profound unfolding. Let the spiral be your guide now, not as a map, not as a destination, but as a rhythm, a geometry of becoming that breathes through you with every slow rise and fall of your chest. With each turn, another thought dissolves. With each breath, another layer loosens. You do not need to control this unraveling. It is gentle, it is natural, it is like watching a tide pull back to reveal what had always been beneath the surface, waiting for quiet, waiting for permission to be seen. And in the center of the spiral, which is not a point, but a space, you feel something vast and tender, something beyond memory or identity, something that doesn't ask, but simply waits, a stillness that does not collapse into silence, but expands into wonder. You are not moving toward that center. You are remembering you have always been there. The spiral was never a path you had to walk. It was the shape of your presence, made visible. Breathe into that now, not to reach it, but to rest in it, as if each breath were a gentle reminder that you are part of something sacred, something patient, something that never needed you to become anything more than exactly what you are right now. Let the spiral turn without you. Let the breath move through you. Let the dream deepen, and let your place in it remain unspoken, unnamed, but entirely known. And so we drift onward, not out, not in, but ever deeper into the spiral of sleep. Now, as the spiral fades behind you like a soft echo folding back into the breath it rose from, you find yourself drifting upward without effort, not through space, but through a feeling of lightness, a soft elevation, as if something in you has grown weightless, or perhaps has always been. Above you, or perhaps within, there is a star, not blazing, not distant, but quiet and near, hovering just beyond the edges of thought, pulsing gently, like a memory that never fully left. This star does not shine like the others. It does not call attention to itself. Instead, it radiates a warmth that feels like a kind of knowing, as though it has been watching over you, patiently, from before you had words for time or names for longing. Let yourself draw near to this star, not by moving, but by remembering. Remembering that it knows you, not the version shaped by days and roles and thoughts, but the essence that breathes beneath all that, the part of you that has always remained. The light it offers is not meant to illuminate the world. It's meant to soften the space within you that has forgotten how to receive. And as you breathe in now, feel that light settle into your chest, not as a brightness, but as a warmth, subtle, familiar, ancient, as though a part of you long asleep is quietly waking. And as you breathe out, allow something inside to loosen, a tension you didn't know you were holding, a forgetting that is no longer needed, a name you no longer have to carry. This star remembers you, not as something separate, not as a body moving through time, but as a rhythm, a vibration, a note in a song that has no beginning and no end. And you, in turn, begin to remember it, not in your mind, but in the space behind thought, in the quiet that breathes beneath every wordless pause. This is not reunion. This is recognition. You were never apart. You were only asleep to your belonging. Let the breath deepen, not into effort, but into surrender, and feel the light of this star filling you now, slowly, like warm water rising in a still pool, like dusk unfolding across a quiet sky. You are not absorbing it. You are remembering you were always made of it. This is your light. This is your name, spoken without language. This is the memory the star has held for you, the one you are finally ready to hold for yourself. And in this remembering, there is no conclusion, no final understanding, only rest, only presence, only a light that holds you without needing you to shine back. Let yourself remain here, stilled, softened, luminous, carried not by thought, but by the gentle gravity of being seen, completely, without question. This is your home now. This is your center. And as you breathe, you drift, not away, but into the quiet unfolding of everything you've always been. Let the star remain. Let it keep remembering you. And let us now step together into the silence that gives all light its shape. Imagine now you are standing, or perhaps floating, inside a space so vast, so still, so unbound by edges that you are no longer sure whether it is a place or a presence, a structure or a state of being. This is not a cathedral made of stone. It is a cathedral made of silence. Its walls are not built. They are held together by reverence, by breath, by the quiet awareness that rises only when there is no longer a need to speak. There is no sound here, and yet everything is heard, not through ears, but through your being, as if the silence itself has become a voice, one that speaks not in sentences, but in stillness. You are not entering this place. You are becoming it. Each breath you take is a bell that rings without noise, a sacred tone that vibrates through the body, not to awaken, but to remind you that you are already awake in ways the mind cannot measure. And as you walk deeper into this cathedral, if walking is the word, for here there is no floor, no ceiling, no gravity, you feel something shed from you with each step, something fall away, not because you have lost it, but because it was never truly you. A mask, a shape, a story, released into the silence, like dust into sunlight, disappearing before it touches the ground. There is no need here, no striving, no grasping, only presence, only breath, only the vast, sacred quiet of being. You may notice now that the stillness is not empty. It is full, pulsing, alive with potential, like the moment just before the first snowfall, or the breath you take before saying something that matters, or the space between two waves when the ocean holds its breath. This silence is not the absence of thought. It is the field in which thought loses its urgency. its sharpness, and becomes something softer, rounder, something that no longer needs to be believed, only noticed. You are not separate from this space. You are the air in its lungs, the echo in its stone, the breath behind its hush. And as you continue to dissolve into this stillness, not vanish, but become more real, you begin to sense that you are not being silenced. You are being heard so completely that there is nothing left to say. Let that silence fill you now, not with quiet, but with a deeper sound, the kind that hums beneath your ribs, the kind that speaks in the pause between thoughts, the kind that stays long after everything else has passed. And when you breathe, let it be the sound of this cathedral expanding, the sound of your own presence becoming its shape, not as something separate, but as something sacred. You are not a visitor here. You are the silence that built this place. You are the stillness that holds it together. Let that be known, not as an idea, but as a truth you no longer need to hold, because it holds you. And now, as the breath continues, and the quiet deepens, and the self becomes less defined, you rest here, fully, wholly, without a name, without a role, without even the need to dream. Only this, only now, only silence, only you. Let yourself drift now, even deeper than before, not down, not forward, not outward, but into the space beneath effort, beneath identity, beneath even the idea that something must be found, as if the body has been slowly exhaling for lifetimes and is only now beginning to feel what it means to be fully at rest. You may have thought that you were the one breathing, the one managing the inhale, shaping the exhale, tending to the rhythm like a caretaker watching a fire, but now, gently, you are beginning to remember something softer, something older, something truer. You are not the breath sip's manager. You are not the mindset's narrator. You are not the one thinking of the breath. You are the breath itself, the movement, the wave, the tide that does not ask permission to rise or fall. With each inhale, feel that truth unfold quietly through your chest, not as an idea, but as a lived remembering. And with each exhale, feel the thought of control dissolve, the thought of separation dissolve, the thought of breath as something you do gently becoming breath, as something you are. There is no distance between your awareness and your body now. No need to observe it, no need to command it, only the soft realization that every breath you have ever taken was not a task, not an action, but a movement of life being lived through you. In this space, even thinking begins to seem gentle, no longer urgent, no longer heavy, like ripples moving across the surface of a vast sea, noticed only because you have become still enough to see the stillness beneath them. You are not the ripples. You are the sea. You are not the breath in the lungs. You are the presence that gives breath its place to rise. Let that truth settle now, not just in the body, but in the space beyond the body, in the field around you, the quiet air that does not begin or end with skin, but simply holds you, carries you, becomes you. Feel the ease of this knowing. Feel the surrender that asks for nothing in return. There is no goal now, only the breath. There is no path now, only the being. You are not trying to fall asleep. You are being breathed into sleep, the way the sky is breathed into dusk, the way dreams are breathed into stars. And when the thought returns, as it may, that says, I must do something, I must try, simply notice it with love and let it pass like a breeze through an open window, like a whisper too gentle to disturb the silence. You are not that thought. You are the openness the thought moved through. You are the breath, not the thought of breathing. You are the space not the shape. You are the rhythm, not the beat. Let that carry you now, not like a wave lifting you upward, but like a tide drawing you deeper, deeper into peace, deeper into presence, deeper into the you that never needed to try at all. Let go and let the breath carry you. You are already there. And now, with the breath moving gently through you, like light through water, you come to the final turning in this journey. Not a destination, not a conclusion, but a place of quiet mystery where the self no longer asks to be defined. Even the soul sighs with the relief of being allowed to simply be. There is a question here, soft, luminous, undemanding, floating in the stillness, like a single candle in a vast, dark room, flickering, not with uncertainty, but with the sacred ambiguity of something beyond answers. This question has no shape. It has no voice. It does not press or weigh or ask for anything but your presence. And yet you feel it in the quiet of your bones, in the space behind your eyes, in the silence that rests between one breath and the next. You may not know the words, but you know the feeling, like standing beneath a sky so full of stars that your name becomes meaningless, like hearing your heartbeat inside the sound of the ocean, like touching something eternal and realizing it was always made of you. Perhaps the question is this: what am I when there is nothing left to hold? Or perhaps it is simpler: am I still dreaming, or have I finally become the dream? But the beauty is that the question does not need to be answered. In fact, it cannot be, because it was never designed to close a door. It was made to open one. And as you stand or float in this space, this stillness, this final turning of the breath, you begin to feel that the question is not meant to bring clarity, but to invite you deeper into the unknown, this sacred place where you no longer need to be anyone at all. Let your breath deepen now, not as a practice, not as a task, but as a way of holding this moment open just a little longer, as if the breath itself were cradling the question without trying to change it, without trying to know more. You are not lost. You are resting in the part of the dream where names are no longer spoken, where time is no longer measured, where even thought bows to the softness of simply being. There is nothing left to fix, nothing left to find. Only this breath, this question, this infinite hush that asks nothing, yet holds everything. You are allowed to stay here. You are allowed to not know. You are allowed to let the question remain, like a light that never burns out, like a rhythm that continues long after the song ends. Let it remain. Let it echo. Let it carry you. And let it be enough that you do not know where you are, because where you are is exactly where the dream meant to bring you all along. And now there is nothing left to reach for, nothing left to understand, nothing left to release, because everything has already been given back to stillness. Everything has already softened into breath, into space, into this moment that holds you as gently as sleep itself. There is no next step now, no deeper place to fall, because you are already resting in the center, already floating in the heart of something timeless, already wrapped in the quiet, knowing that has no voice and no name, only presence. You are not becoming. You are not unfolding. You are not arriving. You are already dreaming. This breath, the one you are barely aware of now, is not pulling you forward. It's rocking you gently, like a wave that doesn't crest, a lullaby without melody, a cradle made of time that no longer moves in straight lines. You are not on the edge of sleep. You are inside it. Not behind a door, not beneath a blanket, but woven into it like thread through fabric, like starlight in darkness, like mist in a field that no longer remembers where the sky ends and the earth begins. Let that be your rhythm now. Let that be your name. Not the one you've carried all your life, but the one the wind calls you when you're no longer listening with ears, the one the stars remember when you've forgotten everything but peace. And if the mind stirs, as minds sometimes do, gently, lovingly remind it that there is nothing more to do, nothing more to figure out, nothing to grasp, because the question has already been asked, the answer already dissolved, the journey already complete. Let the breath move on its own now, like a tide turning in the dark, like a breeze through the trees that does not know it is being noticed, does not care, and yet continues endlessly, effortlessly, like you. You do not need to wake. You do not need to sleep. You are somewhere in between, a place that is not between but beneath, more real than either, more spacious than both. And in that space, there is no separation between you and the voice, you and the breath, you and the silence. All are one. All are this. And this is the dream. The one that dreams you, the one that holds you, the one you are already inside of. Let the dream continue without direction, without shape, unfolding itself through the breath, through the stillness, through the warmth that wraps around your body like light without source. There is no need to return from this place, no need to hold on, because you are not leaving, you are not fading, you are simply drifting in a circle that never ends, a spiral that rests within itself, a dream that breathes you back into being again and again and again. And whether this moment continues into sleep, or into silence, or into another breath, it will carry the same rhythm, soft, circular, reminding you that you are not waiting to fall asleep. You already have. You already are. And now the voice, the breath, the body fade gently together as one. You are already dreaming. You are already dreaming. You are already dreaming. And you will be for as long as you need to be. And when the dream begins again, you will remember nothing except that you were safe and held and home.